Have you ever played as a main in Dandy's world? You get one less heart, but one more star and one more ability. But what if we were to flip that? We have one more heart, but one less star and one less ability. So no ability. I've had this idea for a while now, however, I kind of fell out of doing Dandy's World related things. I still have to do the Dandy's World Squid Game 2 video, and there are already 2 more characters to take account of. But now that it's summer and I have a tiny bit too much time on my hands, I think that I should finally take a crack at this. So, without further ado, let's go! Now, because this Toon has 4 hearts instead of the usual 3, I want to make it based off of, like, a defensive thing. Something which can, like, block and stuff. And my first thought when I thought of that was, well, shields. So my original idea was this shield person with a suit of armor. They're like a knight. But there were 2 problems with that. First of all, if they're a knight, then they need to have a sword. That would imply that they have some sort of attacking ability, and obviously this thing doesn't have an ability. But second of all, I cannot draw suits of armors for the life of me. So that just had to go. And back to the drawing board. But next I had an idea which actually did work. Pangolins. Pangolins are Asian animals which have extremely strong scales. They look a bit like anteaters, except they have a defensive shield that can block bullets. So obviously, if we're going off of defensive, this is the animal to base my Toon off of. Now, this Toon is the opposite of a main Toon. And what's the opposite of a main character? A background character. A character who doesn't have any dialogue but is just there to make it seem like the scene is more crowded than it already is. And that is exactly what Punky did, until eventually they got so popular in their communities, I guess a kind of meme, that Delilah just decided, why not, and pulled them out of the Ica machine. What do? Well, they just kind of wander around the facility and occasionally sit down and eat a sandwich or something. They weren't made with a specific purpose, mostly just to replace Toons that were injured, or were sick, or whatever. I decided to give them a different form if they were on full hearts, 3 hearts, 2 hearts, or 1 hearts, just to make the design more interesting. The 4/3 heart design is like this skull helmet, and this shield to really sell home the defensive aspect. But anyway, that's all for Punky's Toon form. Now onto the Twisted design. Now, I originally planned to just have no Twisted for this because what's the opposite of a really, really powerful Twisted with a bunch of abilities? Just not having a Twisted, obviously. But that wouldn't make for good content, so I decided to think of one. So here's what I came up with. Twisted Punky will spawn on a random area on the map. What do? Well, they just sit there. But if you stay in their attack range for 3 seconds or more, they deal 2 damage to you. And if you stay in there a second longer, they deal another 2 damage. I thought that, well, they shouldn't have any abilities, but they also shouldn't be able to move fast. So I just thought they'd be in the background. Hey, it's almost like they're a background character. So really the only way that you'd actually take damage from them is if you, well, annoy them. If you get 100% research on Twisted Punky, you get the power scale. What does the power scale do? Well, normally nothing. But if you give it to Punky, then it will give them another heart in exchange for 2 stealth. So now they have 2 stealth, but 5 HP. And so that was Twisted Punky. There isn't really much to talk about with them, but overall it's good to talk about them because, well, it gives me more watch time. And so folks, that has been Punky and the Twisted variant. If you enjoyed watching this video, I have a couple more like this, and if you want to see more in the future, make sure to like and subscribe, and I'll see you at the brand new video, hopefully, tomorrow. Toodles!